Hi, my name is Alyssa from Wonder Yoga. This is part 2 of a 2-part video series about the autonomic nervous system. So in part 1, we were talking about the sympathetic nervous system, which is also known as a state of fight or flight, and also the parasympathetic nervous system, which is also known as rest and digest. And our takeaway from part 1 is that we want to try to achieve homeostasis, where the nervous system is balanced, which can be through bringing a stressed out brain and body into a parasympathetic state, or just leveling out both sides of the autonomic nervous system. So we're going to look at some poses and movements that we can do that will help to calm down a stressed out body, but also not bring the body into such a relaxed state that you fall asleep, which might be nice if you're not getting a lot of sleep these days. But we want to maintain just enough stimulation in the body that we have this alert awareness in our bodies, while also calming, grounding and centering the body. I'm going to give you a couple of options whether you have props or not. So I'll lead you through the moves without props, and then I'll also add in some variations where if you have props on hand, you can bring them into your practice. And as always, really be present in your body and feel what's happening in your body. And if something's not feeling that good, then modify. There's no need to be pushing through any pain or injuries or anything that's causing great discomfort. Respond to what your body needs today and treat it with kindness. So let's begin. Begin in a comfortable seated position. You could be sitting on a folded blanket or kneeling over a bolster or on a chair with a supported back and feet flat to the floor. This is a breathing technique called alternate nostril breathing. Rest your left hand on your thigh and raise your right hand. Bring the first 2 fingers between your eyebrows and gently close your right nostril with your thumb. Breathe in slowly through your left nostril. Pause to hold your breath for just a moment. Release your thumb. Gently close your left nostril with your 3rd finger. Breathe out slowly through your right nostril. Pause for just a moment. Breathe in through your right nostril. Pause for a moment and gently close your nostril with your thumb. Breathe out slowly through the left side and pause. So that's 1 cycle. Continue for around 3 to 5 minutes. Once you get used to the pattern, allow your breath to flow at a pace that feels natural to you. Keep your breathing slow, smooth, and continuous. In through 1 nostril, pause, switch, and out through the other. Nice and slow. Breathing in through this same side. Switch. And release. You could pause the video if you wish to continue for a couple more minutes. On your next exhalation, float your hand down to your thigh and continue to breathe normally, smooth and continuous. Take another breath in, and on the exhalation, tilt your chin down towards your chest, lengthening up the back of your neck. Let your shoulders round out. Then take a breath in, lift your chest and open your throat towards the ceiling. Curling forward again, rounding through your spine. Continue to move in this way, lifting and opening, then curling and rounding out. You may like to cup your knees with your hands for a bit more support. Now this next time you lift and open, float fingertips behind you to the floor or to your heels, opening your chest, and then gradually soften forward again. And we'll try to find a place somewhere in between the two positions where your pose is more neutral and your breath can flow easily. Come and turn over to hands and knees. We're moving into child's pose. Bring your big toes together, knees a little wider, and step your hands forward. Now shift your body weight forward and then slide your hips a long way back towards your heels. Keep shifting back until finally your elbows can rest down and forehead touches to the floor. You could keep your arms extended in front, or you could bend the elbows if that's more comfortable for your shoulders, or even bring your head onto the backs of your hands. Here, I've got my hands in prayer, shuffling elbows a bit further forward and bringing thumbs to the back of my neck, like a shark's fin. At first, it might feel like your hips are sitting high in the air, but as we spend more time here and settle and relax in, your hips will naturally begin to descend. If you would like to consider using props in this pose, you could rest your head on a block, and you could bring a blanket either behind your knees or under your feet, or both. This is a great alternative if you're feeling any pressure in your knees or if you find it hard to get your feet flat. Child's pose is a lovely way to decompress your lower spine, particularly to combat days spent sitting at a desk or standing or in the car. Focus on the feeling of doming your back and a sense of lengthening down towards the tailbone and up towards the top of your neck. Consider how your breath might feel different in this pose. You might be more aware of your breath in your back body, broadening your ribs and a sense of space around the back of your pelvis. Child's pose is a wonderfully restorative position that can be held for as long as it feels comfortable. Placing your forehead down on the ground has an instant calming and soothing effect on a highly active mind. It signals to your brain that you're safe and it's okay to rest. Release arms and bring hands in front of you, lifting hips until shoulders stack over wrists. Now scoop your belly in and round out through your spine into a cat pose. Then lengthening your chest through towards your biceps, eye gaze just ahead, cow pose. Let's continue moving from cat to cow in this variation with knees staying a little wider. Feel the contrast of lengthening through the front body compared to doming and rounding the back body. And consider where it feels best to breathe in and to breathe out. Now returning to a neutral spine, somewhere in between, slide your left arm right up close towards the right wrist and reach it all the way under until your upper arm comes to the floor, resting the side of your head down. Then float your right arm overhead, either resting your hand on the floor or on a block if that's more comfortable, and encouraging your top shoulder to roll open using a little bit of leverage from the long arm on the ground. This pose is called Thread the Needle. To come out, bring the right hand in and slide the left arm through again, bringing hands beneath your shoulders. Before we move to the other side, we'll just take a cow pose and a cat pose, and then find neutrality in the spine position. Then Sliding the right arm under, up close to the left wrist. Keep reaching it through, rest your head to the floor and slide your left arm on the ground above you. This is not a totally passive yoga pose. Maintain a neutral spine by engaging a little tone in the abdominal muscles. This pose is great for stretching the shoulders, arms, upper back and neck, as well as gently twisting through the torso and mid to upper spine. Making your way out of the pose, bring hands under shoulders and take one cow, moving into a cat pose, then tuck toes under, lift your knees off and push your hips high up towards the ceiling. Bend your knees deeply, moving your belly towards your thighs in a crouch position. Now shift your weight forward to a high plank, shoulders over wrists, then lift hips up and back to crouch. Pressing into the balls of the feet, float forward to plank and pressing your body back towards your thighs again. Coming forward one last time and lifting up and back. Now walking your feet all the way up to your hands, bringing feet under hips, bending your knees and laying belly over thighs for a forward fold. Here you could let your arms just hang loose, maybe find some movement around your neck and shoulders, a little shimmy shake out, or hold still if you prefer. It might feel good to hold on to the opposite elbows and even sway from side to side. If you need a little more support, you could bring your hands onto a block. Bring attention to your feet. Have a play with rocking your weight back and forth. How does it feel when you rock back into your heels? Do you feel your thighs activate? And what feels different when you rock forward into the balls of the feet? Do you feel your legs lengthen and hips move towards the sky? And can you find a position of stability somewhere in between? Release arms, scoop in through your belly and slowly curl on up through your spine, rolling all the way up until you come to standing, looping shoulders back and down. Lift your chest, lift your eye gaze, and then settle into a neutral position in our mountain pose. We'll just take a moment here to get settled, feeling your posture, the way your body is aligned. Bringing hands together at your heart center. Allow shoulders to feel broad, so they're not hunched forward, they're not pulling back, they're just somewhere in between. And feel where your breath moves to in your body. Eyes float open and release arms down. Give them a little shake out, a bit of a pulse in the legs, bouncing on the feet. And let's shake it out now. Stepping to one foot, arms swing, and to the other foot, just shifting weight from one foot to the other, letting arms swing even further, wrapping around your body, just loosening up all the way to fingertips, spiraling around, and then begin to reduce the movement, gathering into center until it's just a little weight shift from one leg to the other. Let your arms feel floppy, curling in, hunching forward, rounding out, feeling kind of sloth-like. And then lift and lengthen, roll shoulders back, opening through the front body. Now curling forward, imagine that you've got a bat cape shrouding your body. Then pull your cape open, let it drop behind you like Superman. And then sweep it forward again, curling and rounding out. Have a bit of a play here. Let's open, lifting your chest proud, rise on up to tiptoes. Then lower and drop back into your heels, letting your body round forward. We'll keep moving from Superman, coming forward to Batman, dramatizing the movement, kind of like our cat-cow movements that we did earlier. And then gradually we'll start to reduce the movement, beginning to find a more neutral position somewhere in between. A little rock forward and back on the feet. Feeling your body realign itself. And pausing to feel your breath moving in your body. Noticing whether you sense it more in your lower abdomen or the front of your ribs or your chest, or maybe out to the sides of your ribs or into the back of your body, or it could be more centered up around your nose and your throat. Floating eyes open, step your feet together. Bring your hands to your heart center and lift one foot, cupping your calf with your knee open. This is a variation of tree pose. Your standing ankle might feel a bit wobbly to begin with, but we're building strength and stability. Now float the lifted foot off, touch it to the floor, and slowly bring your weight into that foot. Keep shifting your weight until the other foot floats off, cupping your calf and turning the knee open. Notice if this ankle feels any different and feel for your center of balance. Now let's slowly make our way back to the first side again. Touch the foot down, shift and lift off. Now this time, can you close your eyes, even just for a moment, like a slow blink? You might find that you begin wobbling off balance, but it's an excellent way to develop stability and balance in your body. Let's move to the other side again. Taking it slow, feeling it out, and then try closing your eyes. And it's fine if you wobble, that's all part of the practice. Slowly release and touch down again. Feel your weight return to center evenly into both feet. Now turning toes out to the diagonal, float arms down. As you reach arms up, lift heels off the ground, rising high up onto your toes. Then bend your knees slowly and deeply, tracking out over your toes, until finally you come down to a squat. Bring your hands to the floor and have a bit of a wriggle on your feet, just mobilizing through toes, ankles, knees, and hips. Then plant your hands firmly, shift your weight forward, and step feet back into a high plank. Then push hips back into a crouch, floating forward again to your high plank and pushing back to crouch. Let's do that one more time. Coming forward, shifting back, and then step your right foot outside your hand into a kneeling lunge. Lower your back knee to the floor, releasing the foot flat, and just check with this front foot, bring it far enough forward that the heel can feel heavy to feel more stable. You could sit higher in the pose with your forearm lightly on your thigh if that feels more comfortable, or float fingertips to the floor, or even flatten your palms down. Find a position where you can feel a deep stretch up through the front of your hip, but make sure that your pelvis still feels supported. So the tendency here could be to round and dome through the spine like a cat pose, but often we end up lifting out of the hip stretch. So let's lengthen up through the spine and out to the crown of the head, broadening across your collarbones. Now bringing the same arm as the front knee, wrap it around the outside of your thigh until your fingers wrap the front of your knee. Adjust the position of the other hand. It could come a bit further forward or even more so. And if it feels good, turn out the toes of the front foot. Now just gently spiraling through your body. Allow the opposite hip to drop a little and keep checking in with your pelvis to make sure that it feels stable and supported. Again, this is not a completely passive pose. Keep a little tone in both inner legs so that your body remains stable. Check that your neck is comfortable and visualize a gently lengthening and spiraling line of energy in your body. Now let's make our way slowly back to the other side, bringing hands inside your foot. Tuck the back toes under, knee lifts off, and shift your weight back into crouch, pushing hips high and back. Then spring your left leg forward a couple of steps if you need to get it all the way beside your hand. Release the back leg down and then choose your variation from here. So whether that's with your hips a bit higher, even if you want to come a bit higher to start with, and then kind of feel it out and see whether you want to come a bit lower today. Visualizing that nice long line through your body, out to the crown of the head, lengthening up through the front of your body, kind of feeling into our cat-cow pose, rounding out, and then the broadening and lengthening, and then settle somewhere in between. Moving to the other side, wrapping your left arm around your outer thigh, fingers come to the front of your knee, and just slowly moving into the pose, feeling it out, feeling how far you want to rotate your body. Consider where the right hand needs to be. Check in with the hips, make sure they're still feeling good. And then bring your attention to your breath, always searching for ease in the breath. And then when you're ready to make your way out, unwind slowly, tuck toes, shifting back to your crouch. Bend knees deeply, push hips high and back. Floating forward into your plank position, bending knees to push back. And then lower knees, a little bit wider on the floor, big toes together. And lengthen your hips back towards your heels, setting up our child's pose again. Choose a comfortable position for your arms and gradually let your hips settle and sink, bringing attention to your breath again to recover. Feeling the lengthening of your spine, the broadening of your back body, a sense of space opening around the back of the pelvis. Now slowly releasing arms, bring hands under shoulders, scoot knees under and come and turn all the way over, lying down onto your back with your knees bent up, drawing knees up towards your chest, and you could either bring one hand onto each knee, or you could loosely clasp your arms and gently hug your knees in towards your body. Another lovely, restorative, calming position. Let your head rest completely to the ground, allowing shoulders and neck to relax. Bring your feet to the floor, ankles stacked under knees, and keeping knees and feet in line with your hips, push into your feet to lift your hips off the ground, setting up for our bridge pose. Keep your arms down the sides of your body and adjust the tilt of your chin so your neck is long but your throat can relax. Now adjusting the position of your hips, so we're focusing more on lengthening from your shoulders out to your knees, creating stability in your pose. If you like, you could bring a yoga block side on beneath your sacrum, the flat bone at the base of your spine, resting on it but not completely, so still keeping some tone in your muscles to keep your body stable. If you feel any pressure in your lower back, what other muscles could engage to help redistribute the effort? When you feel ready to lower, roll down really slowly until eventually your pelvis lands. Let muscles relax again. Move your arms a little wider from your body. Lower one knee open to the side, keeping feet on the floor. Come back up through center and lower the other knee to the side. Then moving again, just rocking back and forth across your pelvis, either with your knees together or apart, as a lovely way to ease your body after a back bend. Now drawing knees up towards your chest, bring them out a bit wider with big toes together. Hands reach up from the inside, taking hold of your ankles or your shins, whatever is more comfortable, and a position where you can still keep your head and upper back resting on the ground. Let your shoulders open and relax, softening down into your abdomen, your chest, your throat, your jaw, feeling ease of breath. Now you could hold this position if you're comfortable here, or if you'd like to take it up to a happy baby pose, take hold of the insteps of your feet and lift your heels above your knees with a gentle downward action, still keeping the back of your hips connected to the ground. Allow shoulders to relax again with a little softness in the belly and returning attention to your breath again. Either of these pose variations are a wonderful way to open through hips, lengthen hamstrings and inner thighs, and decompress the sacrum. Eventually releasing out, bring the soles of your feet together and gently lower feet to the floor with your knees open wide. Now if this straight away feels uncomfortable to you, the first thing you could try is shuffling your feet a bit further away or a bit closer in towards your body. You could either keep your arms at your sides or bring one hand to your heart and one onto your belly for a stronger connection with your breath. If you feel any pain or aggravation in your lower back or pelvis, I would recommend bringing your knees up and feet flat to the floor. You might be comfortable just as you are, or if you would like to explore using props to support your body, position a blanket from your lower back upwards, double it over to rest your head on, and roll it a little beneath your neck in a comfortable position so that your neck feels supported. Scrunch in the sides against your neck and your lower back to feel really snug. And if you have 2 yoga blocks, bring one either side of your legs so that your knees can rest open, relaxing your inner thighs and groin. As your body becomes more restful, your mind might begin to wander, or you could feel sleepy. So try to hold your awareness within this space, feeling your body lying on the ground, and feel the breath moving beneath your hands. You could stay longer in this position, or you could straighten your legs out into a corpse pose with arms resting at your sides. And again, we have a variation with a few props. So having the blanket in the same position as reclining bound angle pose. This time we have a bolster under the knees, which helps to tilt the pelvis in such a way that the lower back can decompress. And having a block under each hand brings the shoulders into a more restful position. As you relax in these last 2 poses, the goal is not to become so restful that you get sleepy. Instead, we want to maintain an alert awareness in the body, observing this experience in the moment with focused attention. You may like to stay for around 5 minutes. And make sure you come out of this last pose very slowly and mindfully. Take a moment to sit upright for a few breaths, to reflect on your practice and restore your energy before moving on with your day. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Namaste.